celebration and remembrance of Nancy's life. Nancy and I first met at this campus at NMC in the early 80s. She graduated from Traverse City High School in 1981. I graduated from Suttons Bay in 1982. We were both here the school year of 82-83. We really got to know each other in the spring of 83 when the Honors English program had a field trip to Toronto. There were about 6 of us that really bonded, and that whole summer we got together often, and by the end of the summer, Nancy and I were a couple. I went down to U of M in Ann Arbor. Nancy visited me, and she graduated from NMC, and then she came down to Ann Arbor to U of M the following year, and we started to live together. We were together there for about 5 years. I dropped out, got a job at a company there, got promoted quickly, and pretty soon had a white-collar desk job. Nancy graduated from U of M, started doing temporary teaching jobs, and started the master's program at a Bread Loaf College in Vermont, where she ended up getting her master's in literature. So at that time, I was in a 9-to-5, and Nancy was still pursuing her college career and still growing as a young woman, and our paths diverged. We were out of touch for decades after that. Nancy moved back to Traverse City in 2009, and I moved back in 2014. And at the end of 2017, Nancy got a suggestion from LinkedIn that she might know someone. That was the end, would have been December of 2017. And then on January 4th, 2018, we met at Honolulu's at 6:30. And we closed the place because we were both so happy to be reunited. From there, we were off and running. We got married in 2021. When we got married, for each of us, it was our first marriage, and we were each 57 years old. So if there's any marriage counselors here, you might know where this is heading. We were both used to being captains of our own ship and the decision makers in our household, so it was a little tough, but we got help and we did the work. And from that, we have flourished, both as a couple and as individuals. We both were saying that this has been the happiest time of our life. You're going to hear stories about Nancy manifesting things, and she did have that gift. But like the story I just related, she also rolled up her sleeves and did the work. She saw what needed to be done, found out how it needed to be done, and she did the work. You're going to hear stories of people, how Nancy touched their lives. And I thank you all for coming to help with this celebration. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Nancy's family and loved ones, I just want to warmly welcome you to this shared space and thank you so much for coming. I'm joined by Nancy's niece Bethany, was lit 3 candles. They represent the past and the present and the future, which are eternal even as we move through them. Basil and Chuck, Sharon, Susie, Carolyn, Bethany, Frankie, Ruby, Cody, the Grollos, the Hyatts. What a loss you've suffered. I know we all offer our deepest sympathies to you. And Chuck, thank you for all of your efforts of the last week. My goodness, in the midst of your own indescribable trauma and loss, you have worked so hard to do right by Nancy, where this service is concerned, and be as sensitive as possible under the circumstances to all of the people. And you're to be commended as a wonderful husband and a wonderful friend and family member. My name is Kate Pearson, or Katie, as Nancy called me. And we met when I was about 14 years old at Traverse City Senior High. We met when we both served as editors of the school literary journal, Shades of Things to Come, and we played in band together. That was the era in northern Michigan where 2 teenage girls could take their parents' Volvo out to the peninsula and have a bonfire on a beach and invite friends and hang out. No one cared. It was a long time ago. And if you can imagine, we also twirled flags together in the color guard, marching across the football field. Go Trojans! If there's any other Trojans here? All right. I do want to mention that the service is being recorded today, and you can listen to it or share it with others from the Reynolds-Jonkhoff Funeral Home website. I want to thank NMC for their graciousness in extending this space to the Gray family, and they've been wonderful to work with. Together, well, let me start here. Nancy and I both shared a deep love of the visual arts. On the printed program, you'll see a collage, and that's something that Nancy just completed about a year ago. The phrases in the collage give you a sense of where Nancy's mind and heart have been focused over these last months. She was deeply involved in cultivating gratitude, an attitude of curiosity, learning to be mindful, learning to rest and recuperate, growing spiritually, and allowing spirit to do its work. Challenging things for really productive people. She also, as you'll see on the right side of that collage, about halfway down, was prioritizing growing in community. And you guys are all evidence that she accomplished that. Look at this community of people here. And now we have each other to support each other as we make our way through this loss. The point is, Nancy left us on a high note. She was as grounded and as serene in the last year as I've ever known her. Even on the day of her death, which was filled with the simple pleasures of a well-cultivated life. You know, she went for a walk in the northern Michigan air with Basil. She prepared nutritious dinner and shared that with Chuck and Basil and played a game and spent time in her sweet little studio office where she passed. I think many of us are just comforted by how comfortable and without tension and ordinary her last day was. So now together as a community, what we're going to do is create our own collage with a number of experiences and a number of people sharing. Many of you may know that Nancy was a gifted musician, very gifted, What some of you may not know is that she was the founder and lead vocalist of a very popular band in Santa Fe in the aughts. It was called Aunt Claire. It was an all-girl band, and by all accounts, it was a giant love fest. One of the members of the band, Linda, is here with us today, traveled all the way from the Southwest. This band wore wings. They threw kazoos into the audience and invited participation. It was a gleeful time. So if you would all listen, gratefully we have a recording. This is Nancy performing in Aunt Claire a song called Choose Love. You're welcome to sing along. It's an easy one to follow.
In every moment of my life, whether happy or sad, I choose love. I am always a choice to believe I am anything, but when I choose love, love is all that is. Choose love, choose again. Now choose again. Choose love, choose again. Now choose love, choose again. Now choose again. Choose love, choose again. Now choose. Hanmaya chikitaya, Hanmaya chikitaya, Hanmaya chikitaya. When the world seems against you, if you choose love, so. Because when love is the choice, your body and mind can love is all that is. Choose love, choose again. Now choose again. Choose love, choose again. Now choose love, choose again. Now choose again. Choose love, choose again. Now choose love, choose again. Now choose again. Choose love, choose again. Now choose.
It's great to hear his voice, isn't it? The Gray sisters, Carolyn, Susie, and Sharon. Right, this is you. Yeah, come on.
Okay, this isn't going to be hard for us at all. I'm Sharon, I'm Nancy's oldest sister, and Carolyn and Susan are here too, and will hopefully introduce themselves as well. But it falls to me to have the honor of reading the eulogy that we wrote for Nancy. You've seen the slideshow, hopefully most of you, and so this, some some of what I'm going to say is going to be solidified by the images that you see. I'll get started. The Gray Girls. 4 daughters and no sons. If I may, 4 incredibly accomplished women making their mark in the world. The Gray Girls are a thing. We are a known entity. We're a collective. And that is now one less. And we are beside ourselves with grief and loss. We are like a mobile hanging from the ceiling, previously perfectly balanced. A piece is gone, and it now hangs askew. And as if that isn't bad enough, the Gray Girls had a subgroup that we called the Babies. Born barely a year apart, Nancy and Carolyn were known as the Babies for as long as they would tolerate it. They were teenagers and begging us to quit calling them the Babies. Where are the babies? Are the babies in the car? Mom, get the babies out of here. They're bugging us. Their birthdays celebrated together every year, always evaluated and recognized collectively, always linked. And Nancy, as the elder baby, took it upon herself to care for Carolyn whether Carolyn wanted to be cared for or not. But almost immediately after Nancy died, Carolyn commented, "And now I'm the only baby." Okay. Sisters share a special bond that's impossible to describe. They go through life together as a team, and not always a perfectly cohesive one. They love each other, they help each other and support each other, braid each other's hair. They're jealous and mad and resentful and steal each other's clothes. They smile together, laugh together, lie for each other and to each other, and they cry together. But through whatever the world has destined for them, they will never give up on each other. And a sister is someone you can't imagine your life without. Nancy was an embracer of causes. Does that resonate with anybody? And she started early. Liz Larson, a childhood friend, recalls when they were at Eastern Elementary School and Nancy led a revolt to liberate the girls from cafeteria duty and allow them to be the crossing guards. And succeeded. She had an acute sense of observation and represented the world as it truly was. Once, again in grade school, Nancy was asked to draw a picture of her family at home. The picture she drew showed us sitting in the family room, watching TV in the evening. But my mom was shown standing at the ironing board. And was my mother mad? Not only did she realize it was true, she was standing there every night, but she also realized that there wasn't even a place for her to sit. Nancy was always looking out for others and trying to help the underdog. Who are the people that are disadvantaged here? Who are the people that need the most help? That was Nancy. And once she knew what needed to be done, she acted. As others have said, she could manifest anything and was widely and highly admired for both her courage and her innovative approach. She'd go out on a limb and start something that people hadn't even thought of and make it happen, and once it happened, you realized how much you needed it. But mostly, Nancy approached each problem with a focus on each individual. What does this person need to succeed? And she gave tirelessly of herself to make it happen. Community and inclusivity were her guiding tenets. In a musical family, Nancy was always musical. We would gather around my mom at the piano and sing every song from every Rodgers and Hammerstein musical. Holidays revolved around family gatherings where everybody would bring any instrument that played, and there would be endless singing. It took some years for Nancy to separate from the family collective, but boy, did she ever. And her singing voice, as you've just heard, was unbelievable. She channeled Janis, she channeled Edith Piaf, but mainly she just represented herself and her immense talent. From the a cappella group that played late-night stages in San Francisco to Aunt Claire in Santa Fe, gospel choir music, intimate local shows here in Traverse City at Horizon Books, to impromptu open mics of me and Bobby McGee. Music was a constant in Nancy's life, and it was thrilling to watch her. She had a mesmerizing stage presence, and once she started, it was impossible to take your eyes off of her. Nancy loved to bring people together and often hosted gatherings with Chuck of a group that came to be known as the Ukulele Lounge. With Nancy, Jerry, Kathy, and Kate on the ukulele, Chuck and Steve on the bass, and any and all comers, extra instruments, joined voices sharing pages of lyrics, she truly carried on our family tradition. I'd like to end by reminding myself and all of us about the idea of impermanence. We did not expect Nancy to leave us, and she has left a huge hole in so many hearts. We can all recognize that nothing is permanent, and perhaps we can even accept that and have peace and understanding around that concept. But for me, the idea of impermanence invites us to experience every minute, second, and breath we take. Taking the opportunity to live life to the fullest and finding ways to be present in the here and now. And that means doing all of the things that Nancy did. Hugging your loved ones, being there for them, and truly being present for them in a way that makes them feel seen and cared for. That means doing a thing that you've been wanting to do for years and taking the leap. That means taking good care of your body, listening in a way to know when to rest, when to grieve, when to just stop and let yourself be. That means looking deeply enough to understand that though nothing is permanent, we are all still here because we are interconnected and enjoy the deep well of compassion within all of us. And so I'm reminded that Nancy is still hanging from our mobile and that we are perfectly balanced. Thank you. Thank you.
And I'm Carolyn, and I'm just going to read a poem for you. Do not stand by my grave and weep. I am not here, I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on snow. I am the sun on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awake in the morning's hush, I am the swift uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. I do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there, I did not die.
I'm Susie, Susan, or Sue. My many names over the years. The time that I felt closest to Nancy was in song. Traveling across the country in the teal Chevy Malibu. Station wagon, the four of us would be huddled in the back, under blankets and pillows, as my dad insisted that we drive straight through. In moments of boredom, Mom would say, "Let's sing." And we would usually start with "Today," as the blossoms still cling to the vine, if any know that song. That was usually our starter. And we would move through our repertoire, heads huddled together, listening intently to each other, and blending our harmonies to create one voice. The cozy voice in the night on the highway, heading together into our next adventure. Always symbiotic, always one. And so today, one of the voices is missing. And it was a big voice. It was a big
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, we have already come. 'Twas grace that brought us safe thus far, and grace will lead us home. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, and now am found. Was blind, but now I see.
There are an awful lot of memories of Nancy in this room. We each hold a heart full of snapshots, and some people hold full chapters of Nancy's life. The family's asked a few people to share some thoughts about Nancy, and one of these is Kristen Salathiel. Come on over, Kristen. Kristen's a fellow member of Nancy's in the English department here at Northwestern Michigan College.
Hi there. In the final lines of Charlotte's Web, Wilbur the pig is thinking of his good friend Charlotte, and he says, she was in a class by herself. It's not often that someone comes along who is a true friend and a good writer. Charlotte was both. I've always loved that ending, and today I would tweak it a little. Nancy Gray was in a class by herself. It's not often that someone comes along who's a true friend and an amazing colleague. Nancy was both. We taught together for 16 and a half years, and our friendship and our academic collaboration were precious and transformative for me. Since we started working full time at NMC at the same time, and both as developmental English teachers, we were often on the same committees talking about the same things. And although I am a foot taller, we were about the same age and both had curly hair. We became known as Kristen and Nancy. One word, one person. In fact, just last Monday, Nancy was laughing and telling a story in our office pod of how for years, if just one of us would walk into a meeting, someone would say, oh good, there they are. Another time, I remember a student walking into our pod and saying to me, is the other Nancy here? Then a few days ago, I wanted to find a picture of Nancy, so I Googled Nancy Gray, NMC, and images. What was the first picture that popped up? Me, not Nancy. But that was our relationship. We were so close from the very beginning. We were Kristen and Nancy. Especially in our first 10 years or so, we went to a lot of conferences together, mostly the National Association of Developmental Education conferences. We had a blast. I remember one conference in Washington, D.C., where we developmental ed teachers were sharing a hotel with the Young Democrats of America. Nancy and I played a game the whole weekend called Dev Ed Teacher or a Young Democrat. Spoiler, kindly middle-aged ladies with just read tote bags and sensible shoes, Dev Ed teachers. Young, handsome types dressed to the nines, Young Democrats. The contrast just cracked us up. We could barely control ourselves in the elevator. Now, I say that, but as you know, Nancy was always super stylish. No dowdy slacks and old lady shoes for her. In fact, anytime I needed new clothes, I would ask if she would come shopping with me. The fashionable black boots I'm wearing right now were bought with her approving nod. And this shirt, I also bought it with her. Actually, we both bought it, which maybe added to the confusion about if we were one person or two. When I told my kids about Nancy's passing, my daughter Gracie immediately recalled what fun she had as a 10-year-old at Nancy's house, trying on all her fun, groovy Santa Fe clothes. Nancy even gave her her green go-go boots. They became the funnest boots Gracie has ever owned. At these conferences, we would go to sessions all day, usually splitting up to maximize the number of sessions we could attend. Then after, we would reconvene and go for a long walk through whatever city we were in, discussing all the new ideas we had learned. We had lovely long walks through Columbus, Dallas, San Diego, Orlando, and DC. Once when we were in Dallas, we were in a huge conference center a bit outside of downtown. The first day, as we got ready to do our long debrief walk, we asked the concierge where we should go. He looked at us like we were crazy. He told us we should not walk from there to downtown. It would not be safe. I totally was gonna listen to him, but bold Nancy politely thanked him and then pulled me towards the door. Let's just go. So off we went through indeed rather sketchy neighborhoods. And to everyone we passed, Nancy would smile and say, hello, or hi there. And I was like, Nancy, stop talking to all these people. But she didn't. She spread her goodwill and belief in people the whole way. She even gave money to one guy on a corner. But that was Nancy, generous to a fault and infinitely kind. We also knew each other's families and appropriated each other's jokes and family stories. Sometimes, if one of us really didn't want to do something, I would say in my best imitation of Nancy imitating her mom, if Jesus can hang on the cross, you can grade 20 papers. Or, I love that one. We used it for everything. Or in my own family, we sometimes use Baby Basil's line, are you about to snack? But we had our own jokes too. Our favorite was that we called each other Victor. Victor was the main character in Smoke Signals, a movie we used to use in English 99-108. Almost our entire relationship, we would see each other and say, hey Victor! In fact, whenever I would go to text her, I would type in V-I-C before realizing that that was in fact not her name. As I mentioned, Nancy and I taught together for almost 17 years. Her knowledge of what worked with students at a personal and curricular level guided me throughout our time together. In fact, we developed and revised many classes at NMC together. English 97, English 99, English 107, and English 108. And when I say we worked on these classes together, what I really mean is that Nancy had all the ideas, and I formatted the documents and took out all her extra commas. We also planned our daily lessons together. I was always pushing to do more in our classes, have our students read more, write more, do more grammar. I would get anxious about us falling behind or not getting through everything. And Nancy would just chuckle and look at me kindly and say, Victor, calm your ass down. I would take a deep breath and indeed remember that, as always, she was right. Although she taught a variety of English classes, English 99-108 was her specialty. And for the others of us who taught it, she was our fearless leader. She taught that class her entire time at NMC, constantly revising it to make it better. Mid-semester this past fall, however, she said to me, you know, I'm not gonna change this class anymore. It's good till I retire. And then 2 weeks ago, at the start of this semester, she said to me, I'm thinking of changing up the articles I use for the first unit. She couldn't help it. She was constantly improving, constantly making changes to benefit her students. If you read the article in the paper about Nancy, or read Nick Nestley's beautiful email about her life, you know the details of what she did here her last 3 years with the Neurodiversity Support Center. That was her passion and a culmination of all that she had learned as a teacher and a mom. She was always a fierce defender of everyone who learned differently, who approached the world differently. And the NSC allowed her a formal way of supporting these students and being sure that future NSC students would have support even after she retired. We're excited to see her good work for students continue. But what you don't see in Nick's email or in the Record Eagle article are all the little things she did. Inviting students to her house at the end of the semester, having long conversations with parents of her students about how best to get them services, visiting other teachers' classrooms or give advice on difficult students, leading discussions with the new faculty about how to work with neurodiverse students, and on and on. She did so much. When I told a former exchange student of mine about Nancy's passing, she was so sad as she and Nancy had gotten close. But later, this Thai student, a Buddhist, texted me this. I'm sad that Nancy is on to her next chapter without saying goodbye. I hope she enjoys her next life as much as the one she just left. I'm pretty sure she will. Without a doubt, Nancy is somewhere right now, wrapping a fashionable scarf around her neck, saying hello to strangers, reassuring everyone they can just calm their ass down, and making sure that no one is overlooked.
Welcome, Chris Stapleton, a good friend of Nancy's.
Good morning. Nancy was one of my best friends. On Tuesday, when Chuck let me know what happened, like all of you, I was in shock. I paced the floors, saying no and weird what the hell noises. My poor dogs couldn't figure out what they had done wrong. On Wednesday, Chuck asked me to speak about my part in Nancy's life. Although very honored, I've never spoken in front of a group before. I wasn't sure. He asked me to sleep on it. That night, Nancy came to me in my dreams. We were on a journey together, first in a station wagon. Then, the last part, we got out and walked. I took her hand, and we walked until her body was gone. It was so beautiful and brought me so much peace. I met Nancy a little over 3 years ago. We were both working on recovery from codependence. Just like every other part of her life, she was all in and doing the hard work. Nancy loved the work, and it was an important part of her life. Recently, she would tell me it saved her marriage and improved her relationships with her child, Basil, her sisters, her co-workers, and her students. It was incredible to watch her blossom and see her joy and serenity. Nancy had a knowledge of her higher power, which she called Source. It was a strong part of who she was. This was something I struggled with growing up, fearful of a judgmental Catholic God. Nancy showed me a different way to my own higher power, and she helped me on my spiritual journey as I helped her on hers. When I first met Nancy, she was looking for a way out of her marriage. She told me when things get tough, it's her MO to get out. This time, Nancy wanted to do the work, and Chuck did too. A few months ago, Nancy told me she and Chuck had gone on a drive to look at plots in beautiful cemeteries. where they could be side by side together forever. I chuckled and reminded her how far she'd come in the last 3 years. She proceeded to tell me how much she loved Jack and how great her life is now. Having Nancy in my life is truly a special gift. Will all care to join me in a moment of silence, followed by the Serenity Prayer, which is on the back of the program. Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thank you.
Joining us now is going to be an NMC colleague at Hope Henderson and students of Nancy's from NMC.
Hi, I'm Apple Anderson. I worked with Nancy at the NSC for like the last year and a half. I've known Nancy my whole college career. I'm reading on behalf of Jake Burton, a student who Nancy often advocated for in unique ways. Dear Nancy Gray, I apologize for not attending your memorial. I may not have known you long, but nonetheless, I wish to say it was an honor to have known you. For as the seasons move us, by even the smallest drops of rain can grow the most beautiful of flowers. For as our stories end, it shall always be told by the ones who our love bring to a flame that spreads aroma and creates a garden that shall sprout with hope. Hope that your love shall continue to live inside those who tell your story. There is always a rainbow behind the storm clouds that our loved ones are now living a happy life. For us living on with high spirits, give a letter to those who live in the kingdom after, a letter that only their hearts can read. So as you enjoy your rest, I hope you enjoy reading, for I imagine you shall read many letters that are written by the soul and hearts of those who love you. For I hope the kingdom of the Lord should welcome you with your kind open arms. Sincerely, Jake Burton. Thank you.
I'm Logan Beach. I met Nancy Gray when I was in her 908 class. Nancy partially recommended I take the class with Nancy Gray. This was before the NSC became a thing. Next semester, the NSC became available. Nancy said it would be good for me to join. Nancy got me to accept who I was and gave me a place where I could be myself. She brought a bunch of people together like me, like Emma and Kay, and we became great friends. Nancy advocated for me to get the support I needed when I was struggling with class. I always loved when Nancy had us over at her house. Last year for Christmas, she had us all of us from the NSC over. We had pizza and open gifts. She would have done it this year, but she said her house was too small. Nancy and me and was a fun person to have in my life. She took us out to ice cream and the beach. She would call me and ask me what help I needed. She would talk to professors and for me and help me work things out. Nancy was a loving and caring person that opened her heart to everyone she touched. She will be missed, and her legacy lives on in me and every student that worked with her.
Hi everyone, my name is Kate Pierce. I'm one of the founding students of NSC and a current employee. Miss Gray was like a mother to me and to many of us at Center. She always knew when we were upset and struggling, and the first year the center was open,
heart shattered in a hospital stay shortly after. What if she was there for those who were not? Her words and warmth always were. I wouldn't be the person I am today without her. As the people who've been in the NSC since the beginning would know, I was not this confident when we started. I was shy and meek, barely spoke even when spoken to. And now here I am speaking in front of all of you, even though I am terrified because I have a fear of public speaking. But I know wherever she is, she's still believing in me and all of us, and it's giving me the strength to continue believing in myself. She was more than just my boss. She was my mentor, my friend, my second mother, and I will miss her more than my words can ever fully comprehend.
Hi, my name is Kylie Gibson. When I first met Nancy, I was like fresh out of high school, didn't really want to be at college, but taking her class, she really helped me figure out what I wanted to do, and she continued to push me throughout my entire college career here at NMC. She knew my needs before I did. Whenever I struggled with a professor, she was the one I could go to help guide that conversation. And Nancy was more of a mom to me than my own mom was. And she always believed in me and others, and although I'm not an OG NSC member, she was still there right by my side when I started in 2018 as a student. And she, even in the years I took time off, she was still checking in on me. And for that, I'm forever grateful to have someone like her in my life. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Reynolds-Jonkhoff. Nancy was my mentor, my friend, and someone who not only changed my life, but inspired me to think outside of the box of what I could be, while showing me what it truly meant to advocate for myself with love and acceptance. Who was Nancy? Nancy, as we all know, was a beacon of kindness, resilience, stubborn determination, and fierce advocacy for everyone that she loved. It's what made her so special as a mother, partner, friend, and a teacher. She was always the person in your corner. No matter the day, the storm, or the overwhelm, she'd shine that bright, reassuring smile, and she'd make any challenge feel manageable. What I will always cherish most is that no matter what was going on in life, Nancy made time. Whether it was a 6 a.m. phone call when I needed mom's advice, or sitting across from each other in the NSC, eating our lunches and talking about the insanities of the world and our dreams for a better one, only to then realize in the last 10 minutes that we haven't even looked at the paper that I was there to work on. No matter the frustration or the challenge, she could turn it into something solvable, something survivable. Because of that, that's just who she was. Thank you, Nancy, for always making space, for always listening, for believing in all of us, and for teaching me how to be a better Spitfire in disguise. You will be missed more than words can express, and all that love that you have given out to each and every one of us in this room will continue to live with the memory of what you've represented. Thank you.
I want to introduce Zach Bunce. Zach plays regularly at the Workshop Brewing Weekly Open Mic Night, which he's been hosting for a few years. That's where he met Basil. And when Nancy and Chuck came to hear Basil, you know, the lover of music, Nancy couldn't withhold herself. Soon she was chiming in with lots of other people, accompanying people and singing with people. But that's where Zach and the family became fast friends. Thanks for being here today, Zach.
You remember me when the west wind moves upon the fields of barley. You forget the sun in his jealous sky as we walk in the fields of gold. So she took her love for to stay a while upon the fields of barley. In his arms she fell as her hair came down, as they walked in the fields of gold. Oh, will you stay with me? Will you be my love? On the fields of barley, you can tell the sun in his jealous sky as we walk in fields of gold. Now the years have passed, and those summer days on the fields of barley, and see the children run as the sun goes down as we walk in fields of gold. Oh, we'll remember you when the west wind moves on the fields of barley. You can tell the sun in his jealous sky when you walk in fields of gold. Oh, you can tell the sun in his jealous sky as you walk in fields of gold. As you walk in fields of gold.
Nancy's good friend Holly Helgeson is going to come to the podium.
Hello, everyone. I would like to read for you today a poem written by our beloved American poet, Maya Angelou. When great trees fall, rocks on distant hills shudder. Lions hunker down in tall grasses, and even elephants lumber after safety. When great trees fall in forests, small things recoil into silence, their senses eroded beyond fear. When great souls die, the air around us becomes light, rare, sterile. We breathe briefly. Our eyes briefly see with hurtful clarity. Our memory, suddenly sharpened, examines, gnaws on kind words unsaid. Promised walks, never taken. Great souls die, and our reality, bound to them, takes leave of us. Our souls dependent upon their nurture, now shrink, wizened. Our minds formed and informed by their radiance fall away. We are not so much maddened as reduced to the unutterable ignorance of dark, cold caves. And when great souls die, after a period, peace blooms, slowly and always irregularly. Spaces fill with a kind of soothing electric vibration. Our senses restored, never to be the same. Whisper to us, they existed. They existed. We can be and be better, for they existed. Thank you.
Zach Bunce and Dean Pearson on trumpet to play We'll Meet Again.
Now we'll
Chuck selected a poem for Nancy. It goes like this. The scent of roses mixes with Nancy's star-laden ashes. Here at the completion of the life cycle, and the earth is so much the richer. We are in profound remembrance of the unmistakable essence that we knew and continue to know and hope that we know again. And our life here is so much the richer. For this life, we are grateful. By Benjamin Martin. From the inside out, the light rooted deep in who Nancy was before her body and in who Nancy is after her body. May her spark continue to inspire and bless all of you. Go in friendship, go in love with our blessing. We're now going to commend Nancy's spirit to whatever comes next. And I'm going to be moving away from the microphone, so if you can't hear me, would you give me a little la-di-la? Nancy, please accept our gratitude to be included in your life. We love you. We thank you. We forgive you for any way that you may have disappointed us. Please forgive us for any way that we might have disappointed you. It's traditional to toll a bell in honor of a loved one who has recently passed, and I have here Kobe's beautiful Tibetan sound bowl. I'm going to strike it 3 times, and first invite everyone to enjoy, receive a big deep breath, and in honor of Nancy's song, Choose Love, let's say choose love, and then I'll sound the roll. So we're going to do that together 3 times. Choose love. This concludes our ceremony. Could we all please stand and remain standing while the family files out to the gallery? And we do invite everyone to join us for lunch in the gallery area of the museum.